Oh yeah, the hornet's nest has been kicked and the cancelled pigs are out in force. I told you once this happened and Glenn O'Leary started, everything just started to spiral. We got him saying how the comic book side is turning into crap. People decided to pile on him. We got our former editor exposing what these people in these industries and these people are so happy to defend, what they really think about, not just the comic book stores and the retailers, but also the fans themselves. Well, Mark Millar, who decided to, support Glenn O'Leary and what he said, and called out these people and even gave them the name Cancel Pigs. Well, now they're coming after Mark Millar because apparently you must never say anything. And they see exactly how these people operate. Let's get into this article here from Bounding into Comics. There's a bit to go through, so let's get into it. Mark Millar takes a stand against Cancel Pigs, calls on creators and fans to never ever appease or encourage their cruelties. Yep. In taking a stand against the ever-growing wave of cancel culture that currently overwhelms the world of comic books, veteran industry writer Mark Millar has officially taken to calling out the self-serving and dishonest behavior of the many fans and writers who would seek to ruin another's career over the slightest of and often made-up socio-political infractions, or as they have recently been colloquially termed, cancel pigs. Now, Mark Millar is big in the comic book industry, but he doesn't need that. The man has his money, he's already made his mark and everything like that. He has a deal with Netflix, he's making money, he's good. But because he comes out and points out what the hell is going on in these times when it comes to this, oh no, that's our problem, we need to attack him. And that's what they're doing. Right, so after what happened with Glenn O'Leary, this was the post that Mark Millar put out. I was so appalled at the way a comic retailer was being harassed and bullied by digital mob this week just for saying comic books are going in the wrong direction. I had to talk with him. Here's my interview with Glenn O'Leary from this afternoon. Yeah, so he had a talk with him and he decided he was going to speak with him. That's what happened. Among those who commented on the discussion was Cyberfrog creator Ethan Van Sciver, who praised his industry colleague. This is what Ethan Van Sciver had to say. Terrific job, Mark. Thank you. I feel like you might be the only one who can destroy this evil. That's what it is. It's killing comics. I'll get more eyes on this interview right now. Mark Millar responded, cheers, but no. The fact that Mark Millar actually spoke to Ethan Van Sciver, who they have termed as the boogeyman of the comic book industry, because, Comicsgate always get a madness. Even though Ethan Van Sciver doesn't even care about them. He's writing Cyberfrog and some other stuff and he's making money and he's happy. No. Ethan Van Sciver is the devil to them. So the fact that Mark Millar would even even talk to Ethan Van Sciver, even take the time to acknowledge that Ethan Van Sciver exists, that's a problem. Well, they weren't having that, and they decided to come right out with it afterwards. You understand me? Right, replying to a tweet from Derek are asking why exactly are people on here slagging Mark Millar. Where Comics, the Pride writer Joe Glass, yes, Joe Glass jumping first. This is a man who loves to cancel people and loves to jump in the cancel culture. But let me tell you something, Joe Glass, every couple months is on Twitter begging people to buy his gay comic book because he's literally eating dog food. and he's suffering and he needs somebody to help him. That's what he's doing. But no, he jumps in the dog pile on it. He goes on. This is what Joe Glass had to say. Getting friendly with CG. The latest is a fairly friendly response to EVS, it seems. Also highlighted and defended that comics retailers who basically said comics are dying because people are adding diverse elements to existing characters, etc. That is not what the man said. That is not what's happening. There is a way, the comic books have mostly for the middle part always been diverse in one way or another. There were black characters, there are black characters, there's Hispanic, Asian, what have you, different characters. Even characters who were gay, even characters who were lesbians, name it, it was in there. But it was about this story, not about pushing these things. Because when all they write about it, listen, this character is black, that's the entire personality. They must just be black man or woman number one. Don't matter if they're gay. That's all they must ever be. Just gay. That's it. Nothing else. And this is what keeps happening. Right. Daniel Kalban, the writer of Band of Bards, American Dreams, likewise described, surprise, surprise, plays to the far-right culture warriors again by supporting the guy who just insulted his fellow comic book creators. Just more of him turning into a far-right jerk. How is Mark Millar putting support behind Glenn O'Leary, him supporting the guy who just insulted comic book creators? Saying something is bad is not insulting anybody. It's called honesty. If you all knew anything about honesty, that wouldn't be available. But no, everybody's supposed to praise you for writing garbage. And I know you're perfectly happy now to come out and attack Mark Millar because why? He responded to a tweet from Ethan Van Sciver that makes him the devil. Yeah. In a follow-up tweet, Kalban further steamed. So uses that store owner as a prop to feed red meat to reactionaries, getting kudos from CG weirdos and enables attacks on his fellow comic creators. And I'm the bad guy for pointing that out. You know what? You get the funny thing about it, eh? Everything you just said is not what the man did at all. But no, you're out here saying that, you're trying to play victim by saying, I'm the bad guy for pointing it out. Mark Millar supported a store owner who had an honest and right opinion. That is it. Ethan Van Sciver commented on him. He responded back. That was it. But no, because you have Comicsgate on the brain and shoved up your tailpipe, and that's all you must ever think about, this is what you're doing. Noted industry influencer Lauren Renfrews Cooper started a Twitter thread collecting some of the more abrasive and anti-feminist agreements given to a previous assertion by Van Sciver, wherein he argued that because most women don't know how to write comics for its primarily male audience, their rising numbers within the industry's writing roles ultimately led to the ongoing spike in retailers going out of business and shuttering their doors, and invited Millar to look through and understand why people in the comic industry and fans are bristling at the push to blame comic shop problems on diversity or perspective from creators. Now, what Ethan Van Sciver said isn't wrong. A lot of these so-called female comic book writers don't know how to write comic books. What they write about is mostly sitting around in coffee shops and having long, drawn-out conversations or talking about food and sex. That's it. That's not what people read these things for. Comic books have mostly always been for male readers. There are tons of women who read comics, but they read it because they enjoy it. But you're telling yourself, listen, more women are reading comic books. Let's put in a bunch of female writers who don't know what the hell they're doing, but we should have them write because they're just females. That's it. And when they write garbage and somebody tells us, listen, this is what happening, it's not good. No, you must never say that, because if you say there's somehow some kind of misogynist or anti-women or something anti-feminist or something nonsense like that. Met with a block from Millar a few days later, Cooper accused in turn pointed out to Mark Millar that some of his recent commentary has resulted in a wave of virulent misogyny and hate speech from his fans, and this was his response. So I guess he's cool with it. What actually they always want to say is some misogyny and hate speech. Somebody saying something against women and saying, female comic book writers are not doing a good job. When you look at what it is they're writing, it's not hate speech or misogyny, it's the truth. So the man blocked you, get over it. If you got judged, you would be happy to block him. But no. Amidst this attempt to paint the writer as an acceptable target for the attacks, some such fans began to claim that they always knew Millar was an inherently bad person because of the brutality and depravity with which he wrote some of his villains. Chief among the eponymous protagonists of his Nemesis series. Yeah, because all of us thought they could come out to say, you know what, I always knew Mark Millar was the devil incarnate. Because Twitter told me to think so, that's what. So Comics by Perch picked it up, and he already did a video on it, and I'm just going to read you some of it here. He says, right now, there's this kind of weird phenomenon where the video about the comic storyteller complaining about a lot of the comics, and it got dogpiled, and a bunch of other comic pros were like, hey, don't shit where you eat. And it seemed to quiet down, and then Mark Millar comes in and does an interview with the guy, and then everybody's like, aha, can't attack the retailer, but we can attack Mark. That's really what happened. They're just looking for another target. So there is a barrage. I mean, a lot of people now posting about why Mark is a terrible, awful, sus, right-leaning, etc. person. But the common thread in all of this is stuff like this, and I'm going to read it to you, okay? Pulling up a tweet from Up to Task regarding the plot of Nemesis Volume 1. Perch quoted, okay, this is what the person put on it, right? Are you all really surprised about Mark Millar? This is the same guy who wrote a story where a supervillain kidnaps a cop's kid, threatened to reveal to the world the son was gay and the daughter hadn't had an abortion, then injects sperm from the gay brother into the daughter to impregnate her. That sounds like something an evil megamaniacal lunatic would do. He's a villain. That's how you write villains. Villains are bad people. They do bad, horrible things. This is why you don't like villains. That's the whole point. Right, here's another comment. He continued. This time raising it from an unknown writer. This is, okay, Mark Millar writes incredibly sick villains. Why are his villains so evil as opposed to the Joker? Kind of idiotic thing that they say. Why are his villains so evil as opposed to the Joker? The Joker has filled entire graveyards. He's killed people for the fun of it. Again, as I said, you're writing villains. Your comment said, why are his villains so evil? So they're supposed to be good. This is the same kind of crap. And we're talking about saying how what they wanted to make a Lion King movie about Scar. I said, you know what? Scar is not such a bad guy. This is the same Scar who murdered his brother, made his nephew think he did it, forced him to run away, then sent hyenas to murder him. When Simba came back years later, after Scar had destroyed the Pride Lands because he had no idea what the hell he was doing, and Simba came back to take control, Scar tried to kill him again. But no, Scar's not a bad guy. He's just misunderstood. Sure, he wants to murder a child, But that's perfectly okay if you look at it from a different point of view. You're a villain for a reason. Stop trying to make villains look at that. Whatever, we. It goes on and on and on of people talking about how Mark Millar writes villains and these, including comic writers, at push, and that should terrify you if a comic writer is writing, hey, it's really a problem if the villain is written like a villain, because that layers into the problem that we have with comics today, which is that the villain should do horrible things, say horrible things, all of that. Exactly. You're a villain. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be horrible. That's why you're a villain. Nobody's supposed to be. People have to like villains. Sure, they could like them for the evil thing and do. They say that, okay, this is a well-written evil villain. But you're not supposed to sit there and say, well, you know what, the villain shouldn't be that evil. Come on now, man. There's a reason it's called, or another thing. This is thing from the Nemesis comic here. What happened? Say a police chief's daughter pregnant by her gay brother. Yes, all of that they did. Elaborating on the cause behind this phenomenon, Push lamented, writers are terrified of writing an evil villain because some dumbass will say, yeah, I bet they're like the villain. Ay, ay, ay. Eh. Right, then Mark Millar responded by saying, this vid by comics by Push is perfect. When I tell pals cancel pics equate the actions of a villain with the true views of a writer, like Stan Lee siding with Dr. Doom, they don't believe me. There's a light shining on these goons now, and they look very silly. You're writing a villain. You have to write a villain. You have to think this out. Okay, what is this horrible thing that this person can do? That's why they're a villain. They're evil. But just sitting there saying that, you know what? I don't want to write this villain to be so bad, because you know what? People are going to think I'm just like this villain. What the hell is wrong with you? From there, the kick-ass creator turned to reveal, okay, he goes on. We know, of course, what's really going on here. Cancelled pigs hunt creators under the guise of virtue. A, because many of them are sociopaths who take pleasure in hurting others. Yes, they do. And B, they really want their jobs. See the current situation at the big two for how that worked out. Yeah, they're attacking people because they need to keep their jobs at Marvel and DC. And the majority of them are literally scared shitless. And they don't even want to, they don't ever want to upset anybody. You see it before, the people come on and say, you know what, they work at Marvel and DC. And they're so terrified of losing it all. They just have to shut up and sit there and say absolutely nothing. It goes on and on and on. He keeps responding what it is going on and what happened with them, and they just keep trying to continuously dog on him. But he's out there and he's putting it out for the masses to see exactly what's going on. I'll read this one part here. He says here, you're absolutely not going to get writer X's job on Batman if you spend 6 months harassing him into suicide. You will only be remembered by his editor and peers as someone who tried to bankrupt their pal, and they will never be there for you. Hence ended the lesson. Yes. So he goes on about another thing of people keep coming out, say, and the next one here says, because Mark Millar said, you know, these people have no power. That's what's going on. So somebody comes and said, if they had no power, then why are you blaming them for the decline of the comic industry? He answers quite rightly. They have zero power over creators, but writers and editors have made the mistake of trying to appease them for the past 7 years, and it's been fiscal suicide as they don't really read comics. And he's quite right. They don't read comics at all. They don't buy anything, but what they just love to hate on Twitter, and these people wrongfully believe that, you know what, these people somehow actually know what they're saying and they go for it. I don't know, boy. I really don't know. Right, but then he finally says here, somebody asks, Mark, maybe you could clarify for the people labeling you, who really are these cancel pigs? So he answers, Twitter packs like the people who mobbed retailer Glenn O'Leary last week, mocking him and trying to destroy his reputation. We've seen it happen with comic pros too, like Howard Chaykin and many others, entirely for sport. The cancel pig exists to destroy because he cannot create, and it's very true. These people want to destroy everything because they are incapable of creating anything. They believe the world revolves around them and they want to destroy everything that has ever been. You don't even have to just look at comic books. Look at TV. Look at TV. Look what they did to the Scooby Gang in that Velma series. That was absolutely horrible and offensive to years of Scooby-Doo. But no, they did it because they forgot that, you know what, we could just take these IPs and do as we damn well please. So Mark Millar calling out these cancel things, and they're not going to stop. But a light is being shown on these people to show exactly what they are. Nothing more than cockroaches who scamper every time you turn on a light and expose them for what they are. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. I have a different opinion. I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, sure to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell every time I upload a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.